Got a coworker who brought me in some kitchen knives to sharpen for him. He's got one of those, I guess it's a carbide pull through or maybe an electric pull through, seeing the scratches along his bevel here. But his edges are they're just chewed up something bad. So it says it's a 3-inch Santoku, 5-inch Santoku, 7-inch, and finally a 9-inch. So I'm going to record some of these. I don't know if I'm going to record them all. I figured I'd bring you guys along. And show you how I do it, which is pretty much just like any other knife. I mean, I don't change my technique or anything. It's pretty straightforward. I will say, however, I'm going to try a bunch of different stones with these knives. This is just going to give me an opportunity to play, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Obviously, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. I have no idea what kind of steel this is. I have no idea what brand this is. It's WP, whatever that stands for. It says China, and it looks like there's a serial number 032007. I'm going to start with this guy first, and I am going to begin it with my 180 grit Nubatama stone. Now, I've shown this stone off a few times before. It's not one I use very often just because I'm not a fan of it. It tends to leave feathering issues and all sorts of problems. But since this knife is already really well used, I don't think that's going to be a problem for me in this session. So that's why I'm gonna go ahead and get some use on it, because it's sitting in my box doing nothing basically. And this stone is very, very porous and very, very thirsty, so you constantly have to keep water on it if you want to keep it lubricated. I sometimes just use it dry or partially dry because of that. So once the water starts to absorb, you know, just depending on my mood, I may not flush the stone very often. If you see that, there's no real rhyme or reason for it. It's just the way the stone behaves, and I haven't, you know, taken the time to reach down and flush it with water. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to do my standard 15-degree bevel. I'm just going to hold the knife at 15 degrees, keep it at a 45-degree angle to the stone. Now this knife has some curve to it, so I'll probably do a pattern like that, starting at the heel all the way to the tip and back. So I'll get this rocking motion. As far as pressure goes, I'm just using my hand weight only, whatever that amounts to, maybe 2 or 3 pounds of pressure, if that. And this steel appears to be cutting very quickly, at least on this 180 grit stone, which is not known to be a very fast stone, at least not in the few times that I've used it. It's actually been fairly slow. I've now got a burr developed. Feels like everywhere but right in the middle. Interestingly enough, I can actually feel this stone gripping the steel, which is unusual. I've never really felt that with this stone. I guess this steel is matched up pretty well with this guy. I've already got a burr developed on this side. I am going to work this tip just a little more. Not much of a bevel there, but I've got a burr. Next up, I'm going to go with my Nubatama 1K. Actually, let me rinse this thing off. Get rid of some of that 180 grit swarf. Now this is probably my all-time favorite stone. I love how it feels, how it cuts, the feedback it provides. It's just a really hard stone. Nice and thick, and gives just a ton of feedback. It's fairly aggressive too. think that's going to do it for this stone. And my final stone for this one's going to be my Nubatama 4K. Looks like I've pretty much hit the apex in all areas. Do a little stropping. Oh yeah, that's nice. Let me show you one of these knives while I got you up close, so you'll get an idea of where the bevels were. So this is kind of how it looked beforehand. Where we are now. Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all checking in and watching my video. Like I said, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Y'all have a good one.